1st Minnesota out here at the Peterson farm. I have a 1863 rifle. It's pretty tarnished. Let's take a look at that part right here. And this hasn't been used in about 20 years. Inherited it from another reenactor, and we're going to go give it a really good cleaning.
Take this apart and we're going to clean it up. It's got it needs to be burnished because that's the way the regulation reads. We're going to take our barrel bands off. We're going to take the lock off. We're going to take it apart so that we can see if we can't get most of this stuff off. We could get her cleaned up pretty good. Barrel bands come off first. So that comes off. There's your trigger mechanism.
What kind of condition's that in?
Inside's great. Outside needs to be cleaned.
That's not a problem then, right?
Yep, not a problem. We've got a little bolster burn here. We've got a little bit of, looks like the hammer's been hitting on this too. We'll look at the hammer on that. The nipple is a newer nipple. So right now what we do is we separate the barrel from the stock. That's just cast, again, just a little bit of rust. But they turned out for parade for this very reason. It's to clean, make sure their stuff was clean and taken care of. Because again, it's Army regulations, right? You were mustered into active duty with the United States Army, and you may have been volunteers. It's a little, you got to wiggle it out.
It's a little stuck there.
There's the lock.
Turn her over. Let's see what that looks like.
There's the mechanism.
Oh, that could be clean.
Pretty good. It could be clean, but it's in good shape.
Yeah, I would think so. A little surface.
Little. That looks almost like wax or something like that.
It
but
is
yeah.
wax, actually.
See, but you can see where the hammer's been hitting the top of the bolster, that bolster shield. So that, I'm not sure what needs to be done with that. The overall condition of the stock is good, just fine.
I'm impressed with the lock area. That's nice and clean wood. I don't see a lot of black powder, rust, rotten. That looks great.
Yep, looks really good. Everything looks good up in here.
What about the butt plate?
And you use steel wool there, right, Bard?
Yep, steel wool. All right. So we are taking off rust.
A little bit of surface.
A little bit of surface rust here, but the big thing is we got to get this rust on the internet. Arguments about do we keep the... So we're working on the, you can see the barrel. The barrel's a little bit better.
That nicened right up.
And so now we're going to look at the lock and lock plate. So I'm taking off the hammer right now, but one of the things I've noticed on this is that the spring is not, it's not as strong as it could be. When I cock it, it just feels kind of weak. That might be indicative of the manufacturer. As long as it pops a cap, you're good. What I'm doing right now is using a mainspring tool to take the mainspring off, and what it does is it tightens it up, and then it allows you to be able to take it off of here. There's a pin that this fits in. If I can get it out of here, come on out with you. It's coming, there it is. So that's how the mainspring comes out. Just run a brass brush down the bore, see what kind of shape that's in. Okay, now I'm going to need you to pull on this. I'm going to pull back. Well, we didn't get any dust out of it. That's good. Scraper, and it'll scrape the bottom of the bore flat. If there's any powder residue or whatnot on it, we're going to be able to get it out of there with this bore scraper.
All right. So like basically like a giant screwdriver.
Basically, yep. There's powder. We want to know if there's any in there. Yep, see, we got a little bit out of there.
Having fun there?
So he's got some powder in this, so we're going to do it again. What do you think? I might be sleeping rough tonight. All right, give it a shot again. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so this is a 58 caliber worm. The worm is used to scrape powder. It can also grab a ball if you have a live ball in there. It also can be used to grab a patch that you might get stuck down the bore. We're going to polish it up a little bit, or at least get some of the stuff off of it. And then we're going to wax it up to protect it so it doesn't collect rust again, especially in this humidity. It'll do it in a heartbeat. So you see we have some folded metal here on this hammer. That's because it's hitting the bolster. and we don't, that's not a good thing. It's going to create a light strike on your primers, and we don't want that. So, or on your caps. So we're going to take that off with a file, and
You got gum blankets.
they got gum blankets. Yeah, they do. Hey, check it out. So I'm going to remove the nipple using a nipple wrench.
And why do we want to remove the nipple?
Because I can't get the file right back here.
Okay.
You notice that, I noticed that folded over metal is running into the problem here. You see how it's scraping on that? It's scraping on your nipple wrench here. So we'll take the nipple off.
Come and smooth it out.
Yep, I gotta get rid of that. So, making progress. Okay, so while I'm in here, I'm gonna go ahead and try to scrape some of that out of there. So,
Bits of the rust.
yeah, get rid of the rust and some powder residue that's just been hanging in there. You should always take your nipple out when you're cleaning so you can get at some of this stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some car wax on this. Johnson & Johnson paste wax is the best stuff.
And what's the reason for using the modern wax?
It will seal the surface and keep the rust off. Now, he will handle it tomorrow, and so it will eventually wear off. But in this weather that's coming up here, it will at least give it some kind of a coating on it.
Our next step is to wash out the barrel. We'll do that with hot water. Watch your hands, it's plenty hot. So you don't want it to burn your hands. All right, why don't you run that through a couple times? That water's coming out nice and clean, so that is a great sign.
We're going to correct them after we get back from the field. So there's that. And you said because of the screws, the side lock screws, every one of them is kind of different. Yeah.
Should we have put this in first?
No, you just pull it right in. Okay, so that's in, and then we're going to put the lock screws in. Older muskets, there because the wood is tapered, they have a U on the side, and if you don't put the U in right, you won't get them off.